Now, the Creditor Committee set up by Ghana's external leaders, the Paris Club, is expected to hold talks this week on the country's request for debt restructuring. China is expected to attend the meeting, which will reach an agreement on how to restructure about $22 million and $32 million, respectively. There's more in this News Desk report.
Ghana owes big 576 billion cedis. Its external debt stands at almost $31 billion, and the country aims to restructure about $22 billion. That's to say, Ghana wants to delay payment of most of these debts and possibly secure haircuts on interests. But the creditors, the so-called Paris Club, must agree to this. At the World Bank IMF spring meetings in Washington, D.C., Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta said there was reason for optimism.
On the roadmap to an IMF board approval and beyond, in relation to the fund program, on the government side, we have made significant progress and have completed all prior actions agreed to move the fund. Additionally, the Paris Club has met and continues to meet to discuss the delivery of financing assurances. Based on our engagements, we expect these financing assurances to come in the next couple of weeks, thereby enabling Ghana's program to be presented to the IMF board for approval soon after that. Today's webcast was to engage our investors for their support for Ghana's program supported by the fund. We've also met with our development partners on the need to safeguard growth and private investments into Ghana.
China, which initially raised issues and sought clarity, is also said to be on board.
As you know, we visited on March 22nd, we had excellent meetings with the finance minister, in which he was very clear that these were short-term problems that Ghana was seeing. He was very confident about our future in the medium and long term, and committed that they would work on our case to be able to give the appropriate assurances.
The Paris Club set up what it called a partial Creditor Committee to discuss Ghana's indebtedness and the requests for debt restructuring. This week, the committee is expected to deliberate on many issues, including assurances to be given to the board of the IMF, but no one knows what the outcome of such a meeting will be. Is the reason Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta is urging caution.
I think one has to be, really cautious about that. Obviously, you have heard Crystalina, Managing Director of the fund, talking with a lot of sort of a positive air.
3 key hurdles must be scaled to secure a $3 billion loan, a domestic debt exchange program done, an external debt restructuring pending, and then an IMF board approval also pending. 1 out of 2 so far. For now, only further talks will continue in the quest for an economic salvation.
George Refe is our man in Washington, D.C., monitoring events for us. He joins us with more. George Refe, what's the latest as far as the World Bank, IMF spring meetings are concerned? We know it's wrapping up.
So basically, yes, it's wrapping up. You're true on that one. And what we can say that the meetings are still going on. I mean, as we speak right now, there is a meeting that is supposed to be going on between, the Ghana team and the World Bank, still trying to finalize issues of some support that is supposed to come in. Earlier yesterday, the minister had some engagement, and he spoke about the fact that we should be expecting some $250 million that is expected to come in to support the Ghana Financial Stability Fund that is expected to help deal with those banks and financial institutions that have been hit by some shocks as a result of the debt exchange program. So, yes, Aisha, the meetings have officially ended, but they are still behind the scenes B2B engagement going on between the Ghana team, actually, the World Bank and the IMF, first trying to finalize some negotiations on some assistance that's supposed to come in. Don't forget that the World Bank and the IMF also behind the scenes are engaging these creditors. And what we understand is that this week there is supposed to be a partial creditor committee meeting that should be meeting on Ghana. And it appears that they are trying to clear the dots, check the question marks and all the rest to see whether what Ghana is telling them, they can correspond the same issues with the World Bank and the IMF.
The finance minister has been assuring us of commitment by U.S. investors. How has he been explaining this?
Well, Aisha, there was a business meeting with these multinationals, and there are issues about taxes, there are issues about government regulations, and all the rest. And these businesses sought to get some clarity on what is going to happen to their investment. There is talk about these stabilization fund, and there is talk about this new taxes that is coming in. How is that going to affect their stability agreements that they have with government? So they wanted some clarity on them, and the minister was able to offer some clarity to these businesses drawn from Newmont, John Deere, HP, Google, and all the rest. And we also got some understanding from the finance minister was that some of these businesses are trying to come into Ghana, and therefore that would be a big boost in terms of the FDI that Ghana is trying to improve to help stabilize the economy and then turn things around.
How about the push for expenditure cuts, George?
Well, that question was asked, and the minister tried to give some signals that this should be seen as a gradual thing than just a one-off action that will drastically bring things down. He argued that he thinks that they have taken some steps to try and deal with the expenditure issue. So it should be a gradual thing, and they are working to ensure that they match revenue with expenditure and drastically reduce the high budget deficit that we recorded over the years.
George Refe is our man in Washington, D.C. Definitely will bring you more as the spring meetings wrap up. Now,